Okay, we're gonna attempt to film this whole video in one. So things are gonna probably go back and forth. We're doing a book tour today. Essentially just showing you how I shelve my books. I've seen a couple of these videos on YouTube, so I don't know who to give credit for the original idea. But we're gonna go a little in depth. I pulled out all my books because some of them I have tucked away in other things. So, without further ado, let's get started. This is the main bookshelves. But we're gonna go in depth with kind of maybe what's on the shelf, the genres, because I do have them organized a specific way for me. Marilla's already like, no more. I yield. No, yeah, you're done. And that one's just hiding under the chair, as per normal. So, yeah. Alright, let's get started. Okay, we're gonna start over here with the main shelf of my room. This is essentially my book backdrop. It is my bed bookcase. Obviously my bed is huge, so it takes up some of it. So we're gonna start by going over with all of our non-fiction up here. We have a bunch of books on gardening because we have taken a feel for gardening in the past year. And then just some self-help and homesteading, which if you believe that off the bat non-fiction isn't great, it only really works if you're looking to actually improve on your life. And then we have our dog books because we are researching a bunch of dog things right now. So we have puppy books, some veterinary guides, and all of our cookbooks. We're gonna go down here, which is a shelf with a little more room. This is 90% thriller, fiction kind of shelf, but there is some fantasy on here and sci-fi. Like the Leviathan Awakes is definitely our sci-fi on the shelf, but everything else is fantasy and thriller. Some of these have been on the shelf for a long time, like Mask of Mirrors is one that I've been looking for a long time. None of these authors I don't think I've read. I'm looking through real quick and I haven't. But they're all ones that I've been looking forward to reading, and 90% of them came from a Facebook marketplace sale, which are all the book of the month. Somebody was just getting rid of a bunch, and I'm like, these all sound so interesting, so I might as well get them. Alright, next up we kind of have my hopefuls, if not favorites shelf. So, the Dragon Quest by Anne McCaffrey is one that I've been looking to read for a while. I was told it's Fourth Wing, but written, more in the publishing guidelines of the 1990s, I think is when it said it started. I'm not completely sure when those started getting published, but it's a complete series. I think it's 17 books or so. I only have 4 of them, but I'm managing to find them at Toadstool's used book section or Bull Moose's used section, which is great. And then Bridgerton, we all know. I know and love them, but these are a different kind of size mass market. They're not mass market, they're this in-between size, which this is kind of that in-between size for you. But this seems really fun and really cute, and it's a murder mystery, but it's all kind of bookish style title ones, and that just seems so fun. This, Wolf Children, is definitely one of my favorite mangas. I had never cried in a manga before I read this one. It was so cute. And then we all know Scarlett St. Clair is definitely one of my faves. I think I might have spilled something on these. I had to have. Oh my goodness. And then I have 3 of them signed, which are all right here. I'm not going to pull them out and then have to try to get them back up right now. We have this shelf down here, which is kind of books that are either tucked away, were also some of my favorites, or the ends of series that I have because I started them but I haven't finished them, but I wanted the books anyway. So all my James Dashner's in the corner. I love James Dashner. At least I loved the Maze Runner series, but I have a couple others there to go through and read. We've got some this is basically all YA except the last two that are over on the left here. Yeah, I know this shelf is just kind of a cluster, but the Fallen Kingdoms books I'm in the middle of reading, like more listening to, and I'm on book 3 right now, but I found these at Books A Million's, what do you call it? Bargain section. So I decided to snag the both of them so that way I could just like finish the last two, because none of these books are in Libby, which is so bothersome. And honestly, I know once I like pick it back up, I'm probably not going to put it down. So that is it's just something so wild. And there's just something about this series that like hits. At first I thought it would remind me of like kind of like Assassin-y vibes, but it wasn't. I don't even know how to describe the vibes. Like, it was just so much. Like, so many characters died in the first couple chapters. I just didn't know what to make of any of it. And then the first book was a constant go. The second book was a little slower, up until, like, the halfway point. And then everything, like, kicked right back up. And oh my goodness. Like, I don't know what to make of it. So, like, the ending of the second book, I just, like, almost jaw-dropped. So I was just, like, if you want a good, like, YA, like, if you're looking for, like, a break from spice, though there is some insane tension in these books, and it's killing me. And I'm wondering if it's kind of like a Grow With Your Reader series, where kind of like Throne of Glass was, where you kind of grew with the reader, and, like, literally things ended up happening. But I'm in love with these. This is, we're way too close. This is my favorite shelf, and I like how messed up it looks now that I'm, this is like my favorite shelf. So one of my favorite mangas, Death Note, kind of murder-esque mystery, but you get to follow the murderer the entire time. We have lot of YA, because I read mostly in high school, including the book that started it all, which was that one up there, Ferris, by Gail Carson Levine, who also wrote Ella Enchanted. I don't remember the book. That is the worst part of this. I do not remember what it's about. I just remember it has something to do with a mirror, and it just hit home, and I loved the characters. I loved the story, and then from there I started just reading. We've got one of my favorite dystopians, which is the Match series by Ali Condé. I have never, like, hucked a book before, but I was reading Reached at school during choir practice, and I remember hucking this book across the room. And they just looked at me and said nothing, and I was just very upset, and they just let it go, and I went back to my book after about an hour because I was really mad. I was very mad. And that was the first time a book ever made me feel anything, so, you know, is what it is. We have our John Green, which was very popular when I was in high school. Out of all of these, I think Looking for Alaska is still my favorite. The Memory Thief is just my favorite book of all time, and it made me look at relationships differently. A lot of people say that they don't like the way that it was written and stuff like that, but you have to actually, like, look deep into yourself, and I love the idea of the memory. You feel the memories that people are inflicted because they can take and give memories. So you have to actually sit there and think about people's emotions and memories, and you can actually feel what other people feel depending on your class, which there are different kinds, and it makes you think of raw emotion, because there is no escape from raw emotion in this book, and that made me deep dive into my personal relationships and, like, in general, what I wanted with my life and my relationships, and I just can't love this book. Is it the best work of art in the entire universe? Absolutely not. Was it written well? I'm gonna say definitely more in the middle of the ground, but the thought-provoking, I don't even know how to describe it, hit me hard. And just so we can look at this, I love the cover too. It reminds me of the Incarcerate ones, which was my favorite when I was a child as well. This one is on my YouTube. I read it for a 24-hour marathon that I never quite hit 24 hours on because I was so tired. I couldn't handle it. We've got all of these beautiful things. North of Beautiful was a great kind of coming of age, confidence in yourself kind of book. Before I Fall was just, I think I've read it a lot. It's kind of destroyed, but I also didn't take care of my books back then. But the Unearthly ones, the first half of the first book, I couldn't get through, and then the rest of them I blew right through. It was insane. And then that Incarcerate, which is basically like a prison that's like, if I remember right, and like a random object. Insanity. But the prison's alive. So that's fun. We've got The Naturals, and we've got some more of my favorite children's books, which are specifically the Frog Princess series. I have almost all of them. There's 9 of them. I have 6, so we're 66% of the way there. But that is, I don't know, I just remember it being so cute, and I haven't read it in years, and I might have to reread it just to see if I still love it as much as I did. But it was amazing. And then this is just all my signed copies of books, none of which I have read, but I do have, like I said, those other ones that I showed, like The Fever Code by James Dashner and The 3 Scarlet Sinclairs, because they are kind of about, depending on organizational purposes. And so, as you can tell, these ones aren't too organized by genre. They're just more organized by where I like them and how they look to me. So, we're gonna move on to probably the most cramped spot in my room, which is gonna probably take away from the quality of this, but there's no other way in there. At the bottom, we're gonna start with basically all of our classics, and then after that is kind of random, because Ice Princess and Aftermath are not classics, but everything else for the most part on here, actually I think the rest of it is classics. Classics of all kinds on here. So, yeah. Then, I know this is front and center. I don't really have many other books like this. Is one that my friend suggested. And it's huge. It's apparently excessively thought-provoking. I just haven't gotten to it yet, but it's massive. So we're going to be getting into this soon. Because he said that nobody talks to him about these books. So we're going to have to do that. And for now, I'm just going to go there. Here is kind of the miscellaneous books that I just either like or I like the looks of. There's not really a rhyme or reason to it. There's a couple of classics on here that I couldn't fit on the other one. Otherwise, it's a bunch of fantasy. Yeah, I think we really have like a bunch of fantasy, some romancy on here, but it's a really random, really random shelf. The top shelf is the popular kind of book talky ones that I've seen. And then I have an ARC on here, which I think I've seen as well, honestly. So we've got, all of our, they're not really organized a specific way, but these are all the popular, like, book talk books that I've seen. I think the only one that's not that I think should be is this one, which I haven't even read. It's just the things I've seen on it is like, that seems like such a book talk book. And it's not on there. So, none of these I've read. I don't think I've read a single one over here. This shelf is popular, but, like, I haven't read any of them. We do, by the way, have 2 miscellaneous books right on over here, just because they don't have a spot yet. So, we have basically 2 full shelves of double stacked. So, this was mostly young adult on the one side, and we have some, like, adult fiction on the other side. And what was behind these? I don't remember. Is that bad? It looks like it was a bunch of books that maybe weren't known titles, and that they're just things that I keep telling myself I'll eventually get to. I'm gonna just put these on the floor for now, because I can't do this one-handed. This is my children's book / young adult section, because even in the back of these, we're just gonna take this to show. They're all children's books. And there's the Artemis Fowl I was looking for. Look at that! We're finding things that we needed to. Okay. And that's what those are. There's none on here that I've really read that I've really loved so much. I mean, I have read the first Percy Jackson and I did like it. The first one is in the middle. It's not even organized right now, guys. Okay. Now we've got more young adult, which, surprise, surprise. And it's double stacked in the back. This is more genre-based. It's not alphabetical. It's not by genre. It's just purely young adult. So this double stacked part is a little weird. Mostly fiction, fantasy. Some nonfiction, like this one's a nonfiction. We had to put this here because it wouldn't fit on the kids' shelf. And then behind it, we've got a bunch of young adult fantasy. Like I said, some of the books needed to have no rhyme or reason because there was nothing I could do at the time. Because I only have so much room, which kind of stinks. But now we have our young adult shelf. Popular ones that I'm really looking forward to read, especially Once Upon a Broken Heart, Dance with Thieves, and We Hunt the Flame, are probably the ones that I'm looking forward to the most. And there's even still a little bit of room there in case I want to add to it, but these are the ones that I'm very much looking forward to. This is, one of my more favorite shelves, more lax shelves. It's my manga, graphic novel, and LGBTQ shelf, so anything that I know has for Absolution representation or is graphic novel, manga-esque. Your Lie in April is one of my favorite mangas of all time, so it's always going to be there. Your Name was so cute. Heartstopper, obviously. Red, White, and Royal Blue was definitely more of my favorite novel so far. I do have others on here that I haven't read, but we're gonna go from there. But yeah, Back Compendium is the second one, so I haven't read it yet, and I need the first one for The Walking Dead before I can move on. Okay, moving along. We've got our fantasy thriller shelf. So we've got some fantasy right on top, and then all the thrillers, some fantasy here, and all of that. I don't know why this is here, but it is a special edition version. And we have, it's like a fantasy shelf. Everything has like objects on it, because like I said, I only have so much room. This is the romance department, so we've got romance going all the way down, except I'm not sure if this one was romance. This is a cute kind of little fiction coming of age, and then more fantasy. Can you guys tell I ran out of room at one point? Oh god. Okay. This is my independent readers bookshelf. So, independent readers, my indie bookshelf with a little Alice in Wonderland book pot. So I have some of my favorites up here, like Dark Swan and Alvar, by J.M. Ivy. I'm still on her about getting us more Volcania because I need more Volcania. All the Aeon Chronicles, which were also really good. The first book honestly confused me for some reason, and then I reread it and I was like, this made sense, and I don't know why it didn't make sense to me the first time, probably because my reading comprehension wasn't on the same level. Turn Your Art into Pain by Ariel Bloomer. She is Icon for Hire's singer. Metal Bones by Kathleen Constine. Amazing. I was just the shock that I had from the ending, and I just want the second one. We have Asylum. That one was really good as well. And then we have Hero, which you guys know. Hero is like my best friend. The Lost Mage Princess. So, we've got stragglers everywhere in this room. Mind my mess here. We have books that we haven't even put into print yet. So, alright, this is what we call my special edition shelf. We've got some of my favorites on top, which I got the original covers still in the plastic of A Darker Shade of Magic. And we have the new series from it coming. We've got some OG Throne of Glass ones, and some OG Court of Thorns and Roses books. I do have one other. I don't know where it is. No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't at all. Anyway, moving along. So, this is just more, again, popular, kind of book talky, more fantasy. As we go down, it kind of mixes in a little bit with romance, like Pen Pal. But the rest of it's like more romantasy and still in that fantasy realm. We're gonna turn the other way. This is all YA. So there's no rhyme or reason, just it is all YA. Now we have our adult special editions. And by special editions, other than the bottom shelf here, which again had to be YA because I have so much YA, is just like the pretty sprayed edges and all of that stuff. Again, no rhyme or reason. Maybe I don't organize as much as I think I do. And this is our YA special editions area, which one of my favorites is this one. Just like, nope, not that one. That's the wrong one. It was this one. Two completely different colors, I know, but like, look at these edges. It's so cool. Last but not least, this is probably the most random of them all. Books are stacked every which way in here. They're books that were either popular, authors that were popular, wrapped book TBR, like, woo! I feel like it's tipping over. But it's literally books in all directions. Because I'm a little bit nutty. So yeah, this is kind of like hidden in the closet. You guys almost never see it, so. Whoopsie doops. Is that all, Leilei? I think that's all. Okay, so I figured I'd film this really, really quick. I know that video isn't like the highest quality that I have personally done, but I figured it would be really fun. I know I started using a better mic, but this was before I started using the better mic, and I know my lighting is a little off tonight, but I'm ungodly hot right now. I don't have the energy to set it all up and organize it and all that. Plus, it's already like 7:38 and I'm just getting home. So the video is going to be pretty quick tonight, and I had a good night, so I'm going to keep it going. I'm probably going to get some sleep because I'm a little tired, but I hope you all have a wonderful day and you enjoyed this, like, not like in-depth, because I feel like I could have like talked about the books that I actually liked, but I didn't, and I did have it organized other than like the stacks that are second out. But I was just so tired and not in the mood. But like, I feel like I still did pretty well. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like completely in the mood, but I was in the mood to do it still, which is the weird thing. But on another note, I will talk to you guys later and see what y'all doing next week. Bye.